and gentlemen, this is the Brock Lawley program. My name is Brock Lawley. I am your fearless host. You know what I know you're waiting on with bated breath? This I have no doubt, is the million woman, very loosely used term here, march in Washington, D.C. the day after our president-elect is sworn into office. Yes, you're waiting. You're just, butt cheeks are clenched. You're waiting. It's like a new Star Wars movie coming out. You know what I mean? On a Thursday night. 12 o'clock. You're waiting with that kind of anticipation. Essentially, what do we have here? A gaggle, a henfest, if you will, of husbandless, boyfriendless, braless women marching angrily in the streets. Probably not a million, probably a couple hundred. Going home, of course, to a house filled with an unsafe amount of cats and a cabinet full of hard liquor. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the truth. But, you know, it's all over the news. It's this big thing, ladies and gentlemen. Million woman march, the travesty of being a woman in America. Again, ladies and gentlemen, a gleaming, glittering gem on the crown of leftism where, you know, there is real evil in the world. There's actual issues for women in the world. For example, a woman was just stoned in the Middle East because she went to the market without her husband. That just happened last week. But instead of dealing with that, we're going to go down to Washington, D.C. and what? Protest unfair wages, a completely mythical talking point from the left. Equal pay for equal work. You do get equal pay for equal work. The whole thing's a myth, but you just keep perpetrating it. Sort of like the Chris Brown, the race baiting. Your whole sort of Jenga set of talking points is hollowed out like termites have eaten them. It's all nonsense, but you just keep on keeping on. Again, this is moral platitudes. These are moral stand-ins for real issues. These are stand-ins for real moral issues for the Democrat Party and their drones, the badly defeated drones. You know, no self-correction. Again, just sad. Let's jump into the stories, ladies and gentlemen. Wait for it. The New York Times is mocking. I mean, I know you're shocked. Mocking all of Donald Trump's picks, his cabinet picks. Of course, all these people, world-class thoroughbreds, totally slaying it in the fields of their expertise. Nothing but, you know, bullet point after bullet point on a watertight resume. And you got some Marxist in his dirty underpants clickety-clacking in the New York Times, you know, making fun of these guys. Why? Why? But why? What is the merit? What is the substance of their mockery? Why wouldn't you know these people? They don't acknowledge the obvious truths of leftism. They will not spout the Tinkerbell, Peter Pan myths of leftism, which makes them mock-worthy. Of course it does. New York Times scribbling that nonsense. Leftism has failed again and again, says Henniger. It's time to try something fresh. A new president and his new cabinet to pull it off. Hallelujah. That is the truth. I wait with tickles. Chris Matthews like tickles all over my bod at this world-class A-team, you know, Avengers gaggle of appointments that Donald Trump has made. I got to tell you, even more than Donald Trump, I am just enthralled and thrilled with a cabinet made of hardly any bureaucrats. I cannot wait, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot wait. And of course, all the corrupt, the evil establishment hacks that have been wetting their beak in the trough, they don't like this because they know money's not going to be rolling the same directions. And the corruption and the lobbying and all the nonsense that they're using. That's just life is normal in Washington, D.C. The rest of us out, boat rowers out here, serfs out here. I've been taking the shaft, grabbing the ankles, grabbing the bar of soap in the prison yard that is our economy. That's all going to be coming to an abrupt end. So what I would advise you to do is every time you hear these hyperbolic hysterics from the left, just scribble that out of whatever article you're writing or reading rather. And just write in there, good for the American people. Whatever's bad for leftism, good for the American people. Whatever's bad for leftist cronyism, good for the poor. Whatever's bad for race baiting and the race workshops and the gaggle of like race racketeers in Washington, good for disenfranchised African Americans. That's the way you need to read all of this, you know, river of nonsense claptrap rolling out of the left. For those of you who want to get into the wonky stuff, there's a great article about pre-existing conditions, which is often a bandied about word. You know, a lot of times in talking about healthcare, we don't even deal with it. The left's out there just talking about throwing old people, you know, in some mass grave or something. We don't actually talk about ideas. We never talk about ideas. But if you're interested in this pre-existing conditions, that buzzword in and of itself, there's a Wall Street Journal piece. Not a huge problem. We can deal with this problem with some rationale and without the entire healthcare system having to be bottlenecked and turnstile through the federal government of graft, greed, and theft, legalized theft. These things can be dealt with. For example, we just spent $1 trillion, that's with a T, $1 trillion on healthcare and received no healthcare. But all of the Democrat donors, their pockets were greased. There was 1 million politicians that got to wet their beak in that nonsense. You know, poor people to get help. I know that's not what the mainstream media is telling you because they're sycophants to circle the wagon and just spout out what they're supposed to spout off, whatever the hot off the presses email is from the White House. But this is the truth. You know, people have not been served by Obamacare because it was never meant to serve people. Poor people, disenfranchised people that did not have the economics to feather their nest by way of healthcare and preparations in that regard. This was not dealt with. This was never the intention. The intention was for your health, your family's health, your most precious decision, the heartbeat of your life, your health, to be made. The decision should be made federally. That's what the left believes. Everything needs to go through the federal government. That is leftism in a nutshell. That is not what I believe. That is not what Donald Trump believes. That is not what these things coming down the pike will be addressing. But that does not mean people don't care about healthcare, and that will be the sleight of hand. Again, I remind you, $1 trillion was spent on Obamacare. It was nothing but graft, theft, and people that didn't have health care now just have a nice hefty fine to deal with. The whole thing was preposterous. It was never meant to deal with health care. It was never meant to deal with your insurance needs. It was never meant to address poverty needs. That was never its intention. I could give two butt trumpet blows about what the leftist media is telling you. What I'm telling you is the truth. A silver lining, ladies and gentlemen, in the mainstream media mess is the new Tucker Carlson show. Look, I've watched this show. This guy does exactly what I always thought somebody should do. He deals with issues. He's got a great show. He really does. Megan Fox is gone. Hallelujah on that front. She went over there to NBC or whatever. I think it was MPC. Nobody was surprised. That was a whole lot of, we expected that. Look, it's just great. Yahoo.com has a piece on how well the ratings are doing. Just a lighthearted note. I don't often give the media any credit. And certainly I'm no Fox News fan, but this Tucker Carlson show, that's worth your time. It's really worth checking out. Ladies and gentlemen, an insane, and I think I can say this without being, hyperbolic, an insane liberal Democrat sets himself on fire outside the Trump D.C. hotel. Listen, there's a lot of crazies out there, and they're on the left. I fear for Trump's safety. I really do. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this guy's just totally mad. And listen, the Democrat Party is responsible. It's responsible for this level of detachment, this padded room sedative behavior from their base, because they continue to feed them this kind of stuff. If you're told every day that cops are driving around trying to shoot your black children, if you're told every day that Republicans want to kill your grandmother, if you're told every day this ridiculous race, class, gender, boogeyman nonsense, of course you're going to think the sky is falling. This is on the Democrat Party because instead of talking about ideas, they Febreze over their failures with this kind of crap. They throw their base red meat. This is the person you should fear. This is your fellow American you should fear. This is the rich guy you should fear. Who they should fear is an incompetent, corrupt Democrat Party that has been established every way twice on Sunday. That's the truth. In keeping with this classy behavior from the new, loony bin on the left, the leftists stage a coffin at a restaurant in a Trump Tower. So they go in and they just cough all over everybody's food. This = Democrat 2017. This is where they're at. This is where they're at. Just ask yourself, a bunch of people that would go in and cough on random people's food in a restaurant, people that are out, maybe on a holiday, people are out with their families, maybe they're having an anniversary dinner, maybe they're congratulating their daughter on graduating NYU, whatever the case may be. This is the people you want allocating funds? These are the people, ladies and gentlemen, this is the mindset we're talking about here. Expose it. Get it out there. Your media's not going to do it. This is just preposterous. And sadly, this doesn't even scrape the bottom of the barrel of what these clowns have been doing. Post-election trauma, safe speech, trigger leftist insanity. Over 50 Democrats will skip the inauguration. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that Democrats also skipped inauguration? That's true. It's a nice little nugget from the past. Because, Well, very similar reasons, I would argue. Lincoln was trying to self-correct the racist Democrat Party outcropping. You might even be able to read those old speeches from those Democrats. The Democrat Party was hoods then, and they're hoods now. They just try to spin it better. But that's the truth. So just bear that in mind when these 50 Democrats haven't paid just bare minimum decent respect. Can you imagine if this happened to Barack Obama? Can you imagine this? Imagine with the same people, the same lips would be moving, but a whole different song would be coming out from this choir, and you know it. If you want to read about that, ladies and gentlemen, that's in the Daily Caller. Since nobody ever calls these guys out, I'm going to take a minute to do it. MSNBC host, this is that O'Donnell guy or whatever, like 6 people are watching him. That's why it's sort of an odd story. But he purposely spreads fake news. He got caught doing it because it served his left-wing agenda. He ran it. No vetting at all. He was caught zero apologizing. So CNN pushes out total nonsense, defamatory nonsense about Donald Trump. BuzzFeed, nonsense about Donald Trump. MSNBC, this is pretty much an hourly occurrence. And they have the audacity and the nerve to call other people. And again, no apology, because being on the left means you don't have to apologize. You just keep on keeping on. You're allowed to do it. After all, your villains are so monstrous and so evil that any kind of scrupulous behavior is it's somehow noble. It's hocus pocus noble because you're a leftist. Anyway, O'Donnell, the last call on fake news is what it is. And lastly, there's a little cherry on top of the fecal matter Sunday that Barack Obama is leaving the American people as he allows the White House door to hit his derriere. Obama pardons another terrorist, shameless. And let me look just to put yourself in the leftist mind. Look, they pardoned this guy because he's a transsexual or whatever. This latest guy that they pardoned, and I have some different opinions on the scale of which this guy's guilty and all that stuff. But just notice how they laser and make decisions. It's all just social engineering and how this is going to play in the news cycle. Never once do they sit there and think, is this going to make the American people safe? Is this going to make the American people prosperous? Is this going to help people? And it's just all this kind of kabuki theater, puppeteering, spinning. Let's pardon a transgender person because that's the latest circle in a square we want to shove. Ladies and gentlemen, this mentality is old. It's tired. It's been rejected, devastated politically. There's a whole bunch of pieces. There's pieces all over the place out there at how thoroughly devastated the Democratic Party is by way of power. And it's because people are rejecting this in a time of ISIS, in a time of joblessness, in a time of healthcare crisis. Transgender bathrooms and sexualizing the military was the priority of the left, and it continues to be a priority of the left because they will not self-correct. Ladies and gentlemen, take this message to the street because your media won't do it. Be a people of fortitude, character, and courage. Check out BrockLawleyMusic.com. Hey, darling, hurry along. Fix Billy a drink, would you?